goes. That's right. That's right. That is right. Another successful week. Welcome back to the show talking about sports. We are back. Another successful week of football. Really, lots of football going on. College football, NFL football. Super wild card weekend went by. A lot of great games this weekend. A dominating game last night. But as we are always joined every week on talking about sports, Justin, how are you doing this week, bro?
Very good. Very good week of football. Great week of football, actually. So many
Absolutely.
one score games, good college games. So, yeah, I'm great. Football's great.
Hey, bro. Well, then let's jump into the action of what just happened. We will now start with the NFL Super Wildcard Weekend wrapped up yesterday as the Houston Texans on the scoreboard go on to dominate the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming over, just overcoming a lot of early mistakes. It was a tight game, 10-6, going into halftime. Stayed that way for most of the game, and like I said, until the fourth quarter, where although CJ Stroud seemed to be playing for both teams to start that game, the Houston Texans defense seemingly dominated the rest of the way and said, "Don't worry, we got you this week." And my God, bro, it's just another dominating performance by. And this is what I've hated because what I've heard since last night to this morning, I've only heard of how bad the Steelers fell apart. I haven't heard of how well the Texans played. Like, granted, like I said, CJ didn't play that well. Turned it over 3 times. I think it was about 5 fumbles off bad snaps or bad handoffs or just whatever the hell that flea flicker was trying to be. Which is another thing about Nick Caley I don't like is you're trying to do. I haven't seen a flea flicker attempted all year, and you chose the wild card of the playoff in Pittsburgh to try it. Like let's just keep doing what we're doing. But I was very surprised that they were able to pound the rock like they did. Woody Marks had a 100-yard game. Nick Chubb racked up 50 yards himself. They were moving that ball with ease, pounding it down. Christian Kirk eventually got into the end zone from CJ Stroud. CJ just he gets real jittery to me. You know what I mean? He gets super jittery. He's like as if like Troy Aikman said it best. He just might be because like he feels the pressure, even though there might not be pressure, or he might not know where it is around him. But he feels it. But that's where you in that moment you need to stay calm and kind of like I was saying back and forth in the group chat last night, bro. Just run. I don't know what it is about C.J. Stroud where he doesn't want to run. That's what I don't understand. There was a lot of opportunities where he could have just dashed forward for a couple yards. Maybe it is because of the concussions he suffered the past 2 seasons, or he getting hurt in general. I don't know if that's maybe shaking him up and kind of make forcing him to attempt to make throws because you can't. The bad part about it is you can't make the same mistakes twice. Trying to make those throws to nowhere, making bad throws, missing wide open throws. It just wasn't the best game. But like I said, the Houston Texans defense seemingly stepped up and showed out, scoring 14 points of their own and putting away the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin, what was your reaction to last night's game?
I think it was more, in my opinion, it was more good. It was more good Houston than bad Pittsburgh. I thought the defense was absolutely awesome. I mean, I mean, they outscored Pittsburgh just by themselves.
Yeah.
And what's good about Houston's defense is that they only send four. They don't need to blitz. And I thought they absolutely dominated Pittsburgh's offensive line. All you need from CJ, man, is just don't mess it up, man. Just don't mess it up because that defense is that good. I was saying it. I was thinking about it last night, and I was like, that might be the most impressive. That might be the most impressive defensive performance. The only two that I can think about in recent history in the postseason would probably be Seattle's Super Bowl win over Denver,
Mm-hmm.
or the other one was the Broncos Super Bowl win over Carolina. That's what it reminded me of. That defense was freaking awesome, man. The offense, you got to be worried about it because it
Yeah.
wasn't good enough, especially with the loss of Nico.
Yeah.
That's worrisome.
The deeper you
But
get into the playoffs, you cannot make mistakes, especially in the game they're going to play next week. Like we show here, the winner of obviously it's not updated, but the winner of that game is now going to go face the New England Patriots. And bro, against the Patriots, you cannot make those mistakes at all, no matter what you personally think about them. You can't make those mistakes against the Patriots, bro. They are a team offensively that can capitalize on a short field. That defense is only going to be able to hold them for so long.
Man, I don't think. I know y'all think I just hate Pittsburgh. That's not the case. I just don't. Here's my thing going into that game is I don't think that New England hasn't seen anything close to what they're about to see. They haven't seen any defense close to what they're about to see. And I get they're a good team. They are a really good team.
Very well coached.
But this is where that soft schedule bites them because you have got to. Drake May's still a young player,
Yes.
and he all season he hasn't seen nothing compared to what he's about to see. You know, all season I've been going back and forth on who's got the best defense. Well, I think Houston's. I think Houston's defense is the best in the league.
It's very smothering, bro. It's very and again going to what you said about them only having to rush for. The reason that they do that is they have such a deep rotation in the offensive, not offensive, in the defensive line, where they can just constantly like you're looking up. A lot of those plays, there's a couple of those series where Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter aren't even on the line on their edge, and they're still sending in brand new four. It's a fresh rotation of faces. But looking forward at that, I mean, bro, I understand that they haven't faced you. You're assuming that they haven't faced nothing that they're gonna see this coming week, bro. But
Not assuming that's not an assumption. There's nothing like Houston's defense.
yeah,
Denver's is good, but they're not that though.
the Denver's is really good. But
Yeah, but
that's
okay, but
the
you
difference
just seen
there.
Jacksonville go to their house and put 38 points on.
But that was one game. That's one
Okay,
game.
I don't think I've seen anybody do that to
I,
Houston.
you saw Seattle do it. The scoreboard just tricks your eyes. Denver did it. Denver held them to no touchdowns. The whole reason Denver won that Texans game was not only because they knocked CJ Stroud out of the game, but because the defense held them down. The defense held the Texans completely out of range to score the ball, bro. It takes a lot to do that.
I think that young quarterback, that schedule, I just what worries me in the New England game is just
Quarterback's in the
it's your
MVP
offense.
conversation. He's in the
Your,
MVP conversation for a reason.
my opinion, man. I just don't. I don't think that he's seen anything close to what he's about to see.
Hey man, look, I get it. Like I said, I'm gonna be like I said, I'm super optimistic about it. Not super optimistic, but I'm optimistic enough about it. I'm gonna believe in my team enough, but I'm gonna stay worried because like I said, you can't survive those mistakes. You cannot
No, see,
fumbling the ball 4 times off snaps and bad handoffs was bad. Giving the ball up with the
DJ was pretty bad last night.
it was bad. It was really bad. I hope they had a long talk with CJ on the ride home.
It might be the worst game I've ever seen him play.
hmm
It was pretty bad.
But I mean, at the same time, bro, it's just you got to look at it, and from that, you just gotta hope you clean it up and make things better. But coming off of that, bro, the end result was this. Earlier today, Mike Tomlin informed the Pittsburgh Steelers that he would be stepping down as their head coach, bro. I I amongst other people, the grand sentiment was it's maybe time for a new voice. Not a lot of people can get the good grace of one Super Bowl shouldn't give you a grace of having no playoff win following since 2016. So I understand a lot of people would like to say, well, he had a bunch of winning seasons, but how many of those winning seasons? How much time does that buy you, bro?
I mean, what is that? 7 straight playoff losses?
Yeah, since 2016, 7 straight, and they've all come by double-digit losses. That's
God,
for
because if
being
that was the
known.
Cowboys, man, my God.
Well, not only that, but just like for being known as a defensive team, bro. If you're losing by double digits, like what do you like? What's going on? And it's like I said, like you were no better than what the Bengals were with Lewis on at the helm. And I understand Mike Tomlin was a hell of a coach, but that organization as a whole set themselves up for failure at one point, bro. Because for one, they never planned to move on from Ben Roethlisberger. Never. And I understand you don't want to offend him, but at the end of the day, you have to prepare for an era where he doesn't exist. Big Ben's been gone for what, 5 years now, and they still haven't bounced back from him. And then what are you going to do about Aaron Rodgers if he was on a 1 year deal? If he chooses to retire, or even if he chooses to play somewhere else, then what do you do? Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be stuck in a full blown rebuild now with a new head coach.
Well, that's what they need to do. That they need a full rebuild because that thing is over, man. You can't you can't lose that many playoff games, and then like you said, double digits, man. They're not even competing. So I mean, and I think my opinion on it is that they probably told him he was going to be let go, and they might have just let
Out of
him say that.
out of respect, they let it
Yeah,
be the way that it did. That's
yeah,
for
but
sure.
that's a
A,
firing, I think.
a tenure like that, which is what, about 19 years he was
Yeah,
there,
long time.
almost 20 years. He went in there about 05, 06, right after Cower. It's out of respect, like, hey, look, we're not gonna fire you, but at the same time, if you try to go coach, I still got your rights, which is what stepping down means. If he like wants a job, he's gonna have to tell whatever new job he wants. They got to trade for him, and it'll be like the Broncos and Saints situations with Sean Payton. But you're right. It's purely out of respect. Like, hey, look, we'll do you a solid. We'll make this look good, but it's time to move on and move forward. At the end of
And
the
it
day,
was. Yeah, I mean, it was. They need new. They need everything. They paid too much for a defense that's old. They, they sure missed George Pickens yesterday.
yeah.
DK's not enough by himself. Their offensive line isn't good enough. They need a complete rehaul, man. It's just time.
Which comes to my question, bro. Like, how do you rebuild that? Because, like you said, a lot of these guys are already paid. These guys are like essentially stuck here because, like we'll talk about with the Eagles later on, it's a lot of cap hits that if you try to move some of these guys.
Well,
So if
you better hit on some of those draft picks.
and then if you bring somebody in at quarterback, you're gonna have to bring in the same level of quarterback that you had, like with the Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, the Jameis Winston, or do you try to shoot for a Mac Jones or what? Like, what do you do? But in put you in the seat, what would be your first off-season move if you were running the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I need a quarterback. I got to find me, and I don't want an old guy. I might if I mean I got to have a quarterback. And that's where you start. I just
Cut out.
I mean they're just bad, man. I don't know where I'm not
You're like super low, bro. I
in
think
a
you got a
position
call.
to be able to even know where to begin on a team like that, bro, because they need a lot.
Yeah, you're like super low, bro. Can't really hear you.
Yeah, something happened. It got really low. Hold on.
It's all right.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're better. You're back. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, that's probably it.
You were saying you need a quarterback.
You need a quarterback. But I mean, because that's usually your start point. You need a, left tackle, quarterback. Maybe, it might be, you know, your only move might be to get trade TJ.
I mean, yeah,
Trade
you trade
TJ.
TJ. You could put
Did
TJ
you?
up. I mean, you can maybe. I mean, it's hard, bro. It's really hard because you
It's
got some
hard, but
there.
you got to have somewhere to start.
But
You got to have somewhere to start. You got to do like,
in terms of quarterback, though, who would you look at for a quarterback?
oh, that's hard, man.
You can't. You're not gonna go find you a top tier quarterback, and you got too low of a draft pick to get you a decent one in the first round.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Do you think would it be worth calling San Francisco like, hey, well, what are you doing with Mac Jones? Do you think, or do you think maybe you reach out to Atlanta, maybe, hey, get you a Kirk Cousins?
I think Kurt would do well. He could do well for. I mean, you just need somebody because you're like you said, you're not in a good draft enough position where you're not going to get.
Shout out at not a hero. He wants a quarterback that can run. I don't know about that. I think you need more of a a game managing kind of guy because that team isn't terrible. It's just the leadership that because clear as day, bro. They gave up in that game, clear as day. Once it wasn't even fully out of hand yet, but once the Texans got up more, just one more score, they gave up, and the defense got gassed. But at the same time, they tried to play the quick game and it didn't work. And that's one of the best ways to beat the Texans defense. Like I said, I said this on the last show, and that's how they started. It was quick, get your out routes, get your hot routes, hit your tight ends, and then somebody's gonna be open deep. And DK was open deep a lot. He just didn't have Aaron Rodgers didn't have time to get there. I mean, Mac Jones can kind of run. He's got a little quickness under him. He can make some moves. Kind
I
of a
mean,
proven guy. Everybody, he could be one of those guys like we've seen in these past couple of years where he gets that bounce back after sitting behind somebody, relearning the game, retooling himself, bro. But who else could you see, man? Like I said, if you're Pittsburgh, who out there that you could trade for, or do you do something like you said? Do you hey, TJ's out here. Who's got a top 10 pick?
I mean, look. I mean, look. A lot of people don't want to believe it, man. But kind of what Dallas just did with Micah, they didn't do it for a quarterback, but they did it to make their entire team better. And after the way the Packers season ended and the injury to Micah, it's looking like it was a good move, man. I mean, so sometimes edge rushers they're great, and you really got to have them. But I think there's a lot more of those guys than there are fucking quarterbacks.
Right.
So you if you have to shop him to make your entire because you need a lot more than TJ Watt, and you saw that last night.
Yeah. I mean, he needs younger help, bro. Like I said, Cam Hayward is no slouch. Cam Hayward's old, bro. And then look, he got banged up.
Pittsburgh is old. Look at the oldest teams in the league, right? It's been San Francisco, Washington, and Pittsburgh. Well, what's the common theme with them? They're injured.
Yeah.
And while San Francisco did really well to beat Philly, do we really believe in them to go into Seattle?
I mean, I believe in them. I believe in them now more than ever because they're better coached, bro. That's why I said Shanahan. I'm not saying Shanahan should win the Coach of the Year award, but he should be in that conversation for sure. Because look at what they're overcoming over there, bro. They
I mean, I
believe in
think
that. They believe in that next man up system, bro. Like, look, they lost one of their best options to throw the ball to in Kittle, and they still overcame and beat the Eagles.
yeah, but the
Look,
Eagles are
they're missing one of their best players on defense, and they still beat the Eagles.
yeah, but the Eagles are ass.
But it still
That's all
takes
what it is.
bro. Who in their right mind, looking at all those injuries that San Francisco had, didn't think they're just gonna get mowed over by
No,
Philly. They'll get past them
they,
in this.
they got the most out of that team that anyone could ever get. I'll give them credit for that. But I'm just saying that Pittsburgh is really old, and it's just not it, man. I mean, you can't go 7 years without a playoff win.
It's just more of the leadership, bro. It's like how we discussed the Pickens situation and the Antonio Brown situation, bro. You can't let all of this stuff slide and expect the same and expect it to get better. It's just like with AJ Brown over here in Philly, bro. Eventually, they're gonna have to have a conversation of like either he's got to go or we got to figure something else or somebody's got to go.
He's
And
got to go.
if you're gonna make them pick between what is Hurts, a coordinator, which they've already downgraded their coordinator, which they reworded to not fired, but he's not gonna be the coordinator anymore. But like
They kept Kevin Patullo.
you can't keep letting this stuff slide and expect things to get better. You can't
They
just
did it. They did it. They didn't just fire Kevin Patullo.
no. They reworded it, and Nick Sirianni said that he's just not gonna be. He's gonna have a different role. He's not gonna be the coordinator anymore.
That's their problem, bro. Is that, and I know
That's
we
what
don't
I'm
want to
saying.
push to them yet.
It's a certain leadership that has to be in place.
Yeah, because Kevin Patullo is his buddy.
Yeah, that's his buddy. He's not gonna fire him. Why would I fire my friend? That's his friend. But that's the problem is in this
Because he should be
part
fired.
of it, you can't give your friends meaningful jobs that can also get you fired. That's the difference.
Yeah, because if
Look at
you know how big,
as much as you question it, look at y'all's new coach. Look at Shoddy. People want Shoddy to have power because like Shoddy's mind is in the right place and he got a lot of these guys to buy into what he was doing. Look at D'Amico. D'Amico Ryan's coaching up a young core group, and in 3 years, he's won the division twice, and he's made the playoffs 3 years in a row. He went from two 10-win seasons to 12-win seasons. Look at Shanahan. Shanahan has gone through a bunch of bullshit to think that
What you call
anybody
it? The
could give
plague.
up.
They got an
Anybody could
injury plague.
give up. Anybody could give up on that team at any point, and they were just playing for the number one seed. Just playing for the fucking one seed. And then they came and beat the defending Super Bowl champ. Because no matter what you can call them, you can think Philly was bad. You can think Philly was going to explode. That's still the defending Super Bowl champion that you went in there and beat, man. But like I said, like we discussed, maybe it is they got to find a quarterback and they got to build that team right back. They got to build it all the way back up, and it's going to take a little while. Shout out to you, bro. Hope you're doing well. I am spitting facts on the couch. This is just my first early setup. Once we get back home and rolling, we'll be having a brand new setup, man. We'll talk about more stuff. We don't just talk about sports here, bro. We're talking about everything. We'll talk about life. I'm gonna have a lot of my friends on, so keep your eye out, bro. Reach out to me if you want to be on the show. Just chatting it up with me one of these days. Live on YouTube, live on Twitch, live on TikTok. Got a lot of people on TikTok. But getting back to it, man. Looking back at all the teams that won here, you got San Francisco beat Philly, as we were just talking about. The Rams had a battle with the Panthers again, which I think that was super surprising. A lot of back and forth with that. People still have faith. I still got Matt Stafford as my MVP. Then you had Green Bay, and I can't even say a battle because they were up 21-3, bro. 21-3 on Chicago, and somehow fumbled up that game. Like, man, then the biggest to me, the biggest heartbreaker is that way that Jacksonville game ended, bro. Because it's like you wanted to give Trevor Lawrence a chance to prove himself, right? You got a minute left. You got the ball. Go drive down the field. First pass, first play, off the hand, tip drill, picked off, game's over. And then for some reason you picked the Chargers to beat the Patriots, which is why, like I said, you just got that Patriots hate from back in the day coming back to surface. The New England Patriots beat the Los Angeles Chargers, bro. What else did you take away from Wildcard Weekend this weekend, bro?
Chargers are horrible.
And you picked
Patrick pretty good. Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the playoffs, and that's what makes them dangerous.
But like, here's what I'm thinking. And shout out to at Lil Easy 3309. Josh Allen's going to win the Super Bowl. No Mahomes, no Burrow. We'll see, because I'm worried about Josh, bro. He's playing well, but he's showing a lot more emotion to being hit when he gets hit, bro. And he's starting to stay down a little longer. And
Yeah,
no matter
I mean,
no
it's hard to
matter
carry
no
them,
matter
dude.
who he plays next, his next two possible opponents, possible three opponents, are some damn good defenses he's gonna have to end up playing, bro. And they're not gonna take it easy. You
If
saw
there's
what happened.
one person though you trust against them, though, I mean, look, it's gonna be hard for the Bills, man.
It's hard.
Like that's a tough, because you're gonna have to probably, in my opinion, you're gonna have to go through Denver and Houston.
Right.
But it
I
also
mean, bro,
goes to where
like, we saw what happened when they played Houston at Houston. The Houston Texans defense dominated. He's
now if
had
he
every
gets to, now
attribute
if he gets through both of those teams, though, watch out.
but think about, bro, like the Broncos are a smothering type of defense, bro. The Broncos are a smothering type defense. The Texans are a smothering type defense. And if anybody knows him better than any of these teams, it's going to be the Patriots. The Patriots know how to deal with them because they've dealt with them before. Yes, they let him come back from a 20-point deficit in that second game. It's a divisional game. But the fact that it's taking him a little bit longer to get up, he's showing more emotion. He's showing more pain. The
I mean,
armor
let's
is
be honest, the
starting
problem with the Bills is that it's just Josh. They only have that one way to win, and that's the
he's
problem with the Bills. He has to go absolutely Superman with the cape, or
he
they
can't
lose.
play Superman the whole time, bro. That's the problem. He can't be Superman every day. It's hard. You're gonna crash and burn that way. You've seen teams fall because just their quarterback was the hero.
Now, on the other side, I think that Bears Rams game is fascinating. That
Yeah,
is going to be, I think that might be an old fashioned shootout, man, because neither one of them defenses are what Rams defense isn't what we thought they were,
Yeah,
and the Bears defense isn't very good either. But both of those offenses can score. They're explosive. That game is going to be very good.
bro. And as much as you were like you're giving saying to Josh Allen, he's the best quarterback in the playoff. I was the most impressed with Caleb Williams. Given his turnovers that he had to overcome those and make and fix those mistakes and not really shake, not really get flustered, not really look panicked. Just stay, just stayed focused, locked in, and brought his team all the way back, bro. And he is flinging that thing out there, bro. He
I think
really
that's
is.
what makes the Bears dangerous, right? They overcame a turnover. I thought they overcame two bad coaching decisions going for it on like their own 30-something yard line.
Absolutely.
And they still were able to overcome that. Now you got to have a conversation about Green Bay in that as well. Is that they just seem to? I'm I'm starting to wonder, man. I don't know if Green Bay is as good as we think they are. I think because if you remember this, and I don't want to sound, I don't want your opinion because I'm a Cowboy fan, so it might be a little biased for me. But it seems like when they were going into that wild card game against Dallas, they were heavy underdogs. People didn't believe in them that much, and they beat Dallas. And since that time, they've been looked at a different light. But it seems to me that they're just not as good as people think they are.
Man, it's hard to disagree, bro. It's hard because you get to look at you. It comes to that point where you, like I say, you bring them into that moment, and I want to. That could be one of the points that game against Dallas, but I don't know. It's hard because there's always just been little lingering things where they could expose themselves to the world, bro. But
I mean, credit to your brothers, like they said, they put all their chips in
they
one
did,
hand, man, and they lost.
and it's granted. If granted, who knows how different that game is if there's a Michael Parsons available. If they could create just a little more pressure, I don't know. Because like at the same time, like I said, Caleb Williams was just balling, bro. He was playing so well that game, and especially in the second half and the fourth quarter.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they won a game in December, man.
Now, well, no, I think they won one, and they dropped their last three. They dropped their last three because I mean the last
Oh,
one they
I
didn't
think no,
play.
I think they lost. I think they lost their last four, man. If I'm not mistaken, going into the playoffs.
I mean, I don't chalk up that last one to nothing. Like I said, nobody played. Nobody played in that game.
That could have been a mistake.
I don't know
Well, like
because
you said, too, though, because they came out hot, man.
yeah, they came out super hot, bro. They had a lot of momentum. They had a lot of. It's not hard to see why people were like, you added Micah Parsons to your defense that was pretty decent already. I mean, because like, dude, he still had 12 and a half sacks, bro. He made a. We can't say as much as that is gonna bite them. It didn't. You can't say it didn't make a difference for the time that Micah was there. But they still had. They never corrected the mistakes they already had. They helped with something that they lacked. But that decision making in that game was awful when you've seen it all year, bro. Like to get a delay a game after using one of your timeouts, the fact that you chose to go for it, and a lot of people were doing this, but the Packers to go for it so early on in the half, I can understand. Like, okay, you see them coming and catching up to your lead, but bro, like, let's really think about what we're doing here, and let's
Man,
really
I
dive.
get the aggressiveness of the league, but sometimes it drives me crazy. Sometimes I'm like, man, you got to take the points, man.
Yeah, bro. At the end of the day, take the points, but not only that, like the way I didn't like the way they were using rookie Matthew Golden, bro, because he's a burner. But yeah, we've only got him on little shorts and slant, bro. Like, nah, get him on a go ball, bro. He can burn, he can burn. Like and that's not even being a biased Longhorn fan, bro. Well, I've seen it this year, and I saw it at Texas. That guy is a burner, bro. And the fact that he's not getting properly used to me in that system when you needed a run, not a run, a wide receiver like that is crazy. But looking at these matchups, bro, looking up over the next week, Denver and Buffalo start us off on Saturday, followed by San Francisco and Seattle. Then Sunday, you got the Texans playing the Patriots, with the main event being the Rams and the Bears. Who do you like advancing to the championship games, bro?
I'm taking Rams, Seattle, and I'm taking Houston and Buffalo.
You thinking Denver's not gonna make it past this round? They're one and done.
Yeah, I think the bye week is going to hurt them. I think
It's in college. It's not a month off. It's just a couple weeks.
it is, but how many times have we seen it in the NFL already? I think, and then I think that Jacksonville game gives me alarms about them.
Yeah.
They've had so many fourth quarter comebacks. You can't get away with that stuff in the playoffs, man.
If eventually it caught him. It bit him in the ass in Jacksonville, and it's gonna be hard to. It's not hard for me. I don't know. To me, looking back at it, let me see. Looking back at it, bro, I like the Seahawks to beat the Niners. I'm gonna pick Chicago to beat the Rams. Man, it's tough. It's super tough, bro. Looking at it right here with Buffalo and Denver. I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna ride with Buffalo. I think this will be where Superman makes his last appearance. I don't know about Bolton. You're right. I will agree with you. With you can't constantly come back from fourth quarter deficits and just score all your points in the playoffs. You can't make mistakes. Bo Nix is one liable, just like Stroud, just like Williams, just like Sam Darnold, to make those mistakes. And if you make those mistakes at a super detriment time to your team, it's going to be hard to recover. No matter how good your defense is, they can only save you so far. I will take Buffalo, and I'll obviously I'm going to take the Houston Texans, bro. I think that game is going to be super close, and it's going to be about who can play. It's going to be about whose offense can play cleaner football and what defense can get a turnover and score off of it. To me, because that's a more even matchup than it's being led on to, especially by you for some reason. I don't know. Like I said, but I don't know what it is about the Patriots, bro. Whether if you think their schedule was soft, you don't like to
It's
look
the
at,
easiest schedule in 26 years.
but you still got to beat those guys,
And
bro. You
okay, that's fine.
got to
And I
remember.
never said they were a bad team.
Hold on. You got to remember they earned that schedule. They don't just you don't just pick the teams. They earned that schedule by being as bad as they were the year before.
No, but it doesn't change the fact that I just don't believe in them, man. And
I
I never said
believe.
they're a bad team. They're a good team. I think that game is going to be close until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close. I think that's gonna be one of your watch it. I think the rhythm is gonna stay the same. You're gonna get a couple close games, and then one of these games is gonna get blown out. Somebody's gonna get the doors beat off of them. And speaking of playoffs, bro, we'll move on to this next piece that we also missed. This college football semifinal round was completed, and now it is down to two. The Indiana Hoosiers will take on the Miami Hurricanes. A lot has been proven by Miami, who was doubted by me specifically on why they're in, and they have shown three straight games why they belong, and now they're in the championship, taking on the Indiana Hoosiers, who continue to just mow people down, bro. Mow people down. Kurt Signetti, if they haven't given him this award, should be named as the best college football coach this decade. Because Indiana is a basketball school, bro. They are not known for football whatsoever. And what he's done in 2 years, from college football appearance, playoff appearance, to winning the Big Ten and making the national championship the next year, bro, has to be commended. Has to be commended. Give him his flowers now, pats on the back, claps. He's not going to care because he's going to just sit there with the stink face, bro. What were your reactions to these two games, and who do you like in the national championship? I still like my pick from the beginning was Indiana, just because I like me some Coach Kurt Signetti. I like Mendoza. I like the programming he's built with these guys who. One of the players even said it. They feel like they're just the land of misfit toys, and they came together and they're just one unit. Who do you like? What did you take from these two games, bro, in the semifinal, and who do you like to win the national championship on Monday?
I think Indiana is the best college football team I've seen in a decade. They look like an NFL team playing against a college team. They are that good. I favor them heavily against Miami, especially Miami didn't have a great showing. They made
Yeah,
a lot of mistakes, and they had a lot of missed opportunities too, which they'll clean up.
but
But I just
physical though, bro. They're
They
very
do.
physical football.
Here's my reason why I think Indiana's better coached. I also think that what comes down to that game is I don't trust Carson Beck. There's something about him in my eye test that doesn't pass. And when I watch Fernando Mendoza, I say that's the NFL quarterback. That dude is good, man. He
Yeah,
is damn good.
he looks like a Sunday guy.
He looks like a Sunday guy. That looks like a Sunday team. They're good on both lines. I think their offensive line will be able to handle Miami's defensive line, who is really good. But I think that game comes down to I think Fernando Mendoza is much better than Carson Beck, and I think
Right.
that team I mean you called it all postseason. That team is just better than everybody else. I don't know if anybody else like me and your brother were talking about it. I don't know. I don't think Tech had anything for them. I don't think Texas would have had anything for them. I don't think Georgia would have had anything for them. That team is just the best team, and I don't even think it's close.
That's why I say, like, look, bro, this took 2 years. He got there last year. He said, I'm bringing my guys in. You guys are out of here. And if you don't believe me, fucking Google me. I'll win. So he
He's
picked
not.
them for this reason, and he's not lying, bro. He's not
Thank people better thank goodness that Fernando is not coming back because that team is that good. They could be repeat champions if they
He's
needed to.
already got another guy lined up, bro, and Fernando's little brother's there. That's not just a one set program, bro. He's developing the next major player, bro. And the transfer
And they
portal
have big boosters.
makes this so much easier because now not only have you shown recruit by winning games, you've shown the boosters and everybody who donates to that program, not only just for basketball, but like, hey, now we can win championships across the board. Why wouldn't we put more money into this guy?
And they
Hell,
have the
they
boosters
already
there.
extended him, bro. They after he won the Big Ten championship, they extended him for 5 more years. So why wouldn't you put money into this guy and back him up? But I agree, bro. There's not a lot of people to me that had anything for Indiana, bro. They've shown week after week they're the first 16 win college football team. These guys, like I said, they're playing as a unit. They're playing together. They were doubted a lot of the way, but it's hard to pick against these guys, bro.
Scary when you one of the things that make them scary to me is that when you watch them play Oregon in that game, I didn't sit there and say, "Oh, Oregon actually sucks." That's not what I saw. I just thought Indiana's just that good, and there's a difference in that.
You got some
Like I didn't watch that game and say, "Oh, Oregon's just a bad team." No, I said Oregon's actually a good team. I think Indiana's just that much far ahead of them.
right. So what do you think? You think a blowout here? You think it's gonna be close? You like just Indiana to go in there and keep mowing people down?
Now I think Miami's going to show up, man. Don't get me wrong, because they do play physical. They're going to be physical enough to keep it close, but I still take Indiana by 10 to 13 points.
Yeah. And I agree. I like Indiana. Got a little bit of background going on there, bro. Yeah, I like Indiana to win this game. I think they'll pull away by the second half, and it'll look easy. The scoreboard will say it's close, but I think it'll be pretty easy for the Indiana Hoosiers to go in there and win themselves a national title. Now, just to jump in on one more thing, as we get going here, we've covered a lot in this quick amount of time. We're gonna play a little game, bro. That I'd like to deal with you. As we've seen, there's a lot of head coaching vacancies and there's a lot of questions at quarterback. I'm going to ask you a couple of things of who you think should stay. If you were a head coach moving into this position, because like I said, you've got teams that have established quarterbacks that you might want to move on from, bro. And teams that have a gaggle of quarterbacks that they have. You might have to pick, you might not have to pick, bro. But I think there's one omission from this because obviously Lamar Jackson has won multiple MVPs by now. He's known as a top 10, top 5, top 6 quarterback, depending on how he's healthy he is. But let's take a look, bro. I'm gonna start with one that has a good little bit of debate behind it, bro. If you were to take that Arizona Cardinals job, this one's called keep him or move him. You're looking at Kyler Murray. Are you keeping him or are you moving on from him, bro?
From him. the maturity about him. I don't think he's that great. He's good, but he's not great. He's not been able to stay healthy. So I that's a move on. That's a move him.
I think I agree, bro. It's the project didn't really work out. He doesn't seem super committed to what's going on in Arizona. I'd go on and agree with you on that one. Next one up here, Miami Dolphins Tua Tagovailoa, who just got paid, but same thing. Injury history, hasn't been playing that well. Had a bunch of tools behind him. You keeping him or you moving him?
I'm moving him. I'm blowing that whole thing up, man. I've never believed in Tua. He had
Really?
some
You're
good
blowing
seasons.
the whole thing up in Miami.
I'm getting off of Tyreek. I'm blowing it all up, man. You had your window. You were good for a bit, and it just didn't work out. You hired the wrong coach, in my opinion. Tua is gonna man. He's got so many concussion issues and injury issues. Um, Hill just had a bad injury, and he didn't seem to be the same anyway. So move him.
Completely agree. Yeah, bro. I mean, it's gonna be hard to move him with that money unless you just pull a Denver and you take the hit, take what you get from the yard sale that you have and pick. Shout out to my man Eric Cruz tuning in, tapped into the show. Yo, 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 big drama show. Yeah, man, I would just cut him, bro. Trade Tyreek, trade Waddle, trade whatever other assets you might have, and just start completely over. Find you a young head coach and find some patience to rebuild the program, bro. And another team that you're gonna need to hope patience comes with this job. Patience mainly, because they gave the last coach patience. Justin, the Cleveland Browns, and we will start with the bigger one. Deshaun Watson. He still is owed $50 million. When healthy, he's serviceable. He's never going to be what he once was, but he's still a discussion you have to have coming into the next season with the other two quarterbacks and Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders. But let's start with number 4. Deshaun Watson, you keeping him or you moving him?
I'm moving him.
Moving him. You gonna try to trade? You gonna try to cut him? Break it down real quick. Mm, nasty, 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 nasty. No, I get it, bro. Yeah, Deshaun Watson. The problem in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson is gonna be one of those things where you have to discuss him. Coming off a double Achilles tear, owed a good $50 million. You still got to restructure him, and you still got two other young quarterbacks to discuss. Should
All right,
obviously
my bad about Deshaun Watson. I cut out there.
you're good. Go ahead, real quick. Deshaun Watson, keep him moving. Why?
Move him. It's been a disaster. I mean, absolute disaster. He's another one. He just can't stay healthy. One of the worst contracts in history. He's not played enough ball to even come back and think that he's going to be any good. So I like Shadur. Actually, I think you can actually do something with him if you get him the right coaches and you build the right thing. It's just hard because Cleveland is Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I'm moving to Sean. I mean, you just have to take the hit on the money, man, and move on.
And lastly, Dylan Gabriel, you keeping him or you moving him? I'd keep him as a backup. I'd
As
keep
a
him as
backup, he's not a starter though. I've seen enough of him to know he's not a starter.
All right, let's move to this next one real quick. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with the uncertainty of what he is, but the rumors are already starting, just like his predecessor in Green Bay with Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers is rumored to not make a full decision. Which, if I was the Pittsburgh Steelers, if the Kansas City Chiefs told Travis Kelsey you got 30 days, I'd tell Aaron Rodgers you got till next week. If you are going into the Pittsburgh job, Justin, Aaron Rodgers, are you keeping him? You moving him? You letting him walk? Or are you giving him one more chance and seeing what happens?
I'm moving him. It's time to just. You ain't been winning anyway at this point. You haven't won nothing. You've had winning seasons, but you haven't done nothing. You've tried this quarterback thing for far too long. You need to start working on your franchise quarterback now. It's
Mhm.
time to blow it up, man, and move on. It is time to move on. Pittsburgh not winning a playoff game since 2016 is madness. That's a two historical organization who's usually always good. It's time to move on and get young, man.
Absolutely, bro. I completely agree. Um, To me, yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is just old,
I
and
mean, he'll be 43 if you bring him back, man.
yeah, bro. And then just this, it's like I said with the Big Ben situation, bro. If you even if he does stay, what do you do after that when he's gone? You're eventually gonna have to prepare for the day that this man is not gonna be there. And I mean, look, you drafted Will Howard, but you didn't even put him in there. You put Mason Rudolph in there, bro. So like, how much faith did you have in the guy you just drafted from Ohio State, Will Howard?
Yeah, they've got to get the coach better. They've got to get. I mean, they got a lot to do, man. You could be looking at a 3-4 year rebuild for Pittsburgh.
Absolutely, bro. It could be a full
Well, I mean, look at the receivers.
rebuild.
You had a young receiver who's looking like he's going to be a top 5, if not top 3 receiver in the league, and you let him go and pay an older DK Metcalf.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, you brought in some good pieces. You paid DK. You gave up a young guy and paid the guy who you figured would be an impact. But then it's like you said, bro. Like you're not gonna take the chance of pairing Aaron Rodgers with George Pickens. I mean, look at what happened when you gave George Pickens somebody that could get him the ball. He was an All-Pro receiver, which that's another discussion I had. The fact that Jackson Smith and Jigba, Puka Nakua, completely understandable. Completely understandable. But to put Chase as the first All Pro team over George Pickens compared to the years they both had this year, to me, it's a little criminal.
It's
Pretty criminal,
criminal.
bro.
It is criminal.
Because the fact, like, bro, the fact that he outperformed everybody's expectations, dominated in every form and fashion, and then not only that, when CD Lamb was down and he was for sure the number one guy, still played super consistent football. I don't get it, bro. I really don't. And Jamar Chase, Jamar, and George Pickens did it too, but Jamar Chase more often this year went missing. Still a dominant receiver, but in terms of just being the first team All Pro in the situation, it should have been Smith and Jigba, Puka Nakua, and George Pickens in that order.
I I agree 100% in that order. I agree.
But moving on to this next one, bro. The Atlanta Falcons also have two quarterbacks and a head coach opening. If you were to go into that head coaching job, we'll start with the older guy that's getting paid more money to be a backup, Kirk Cousins. You keeping him or you moving him?
You trade him and get something for him because there's going to be some desperate teams that need him.
Hey, I mean, but are they going to pick up that tab, bro? That's the tough part. Like, I get what.
Somebody will. Somebody will.
Where would you
Just talk
send?
to his agent. He's got the greatest agent in sports.
Where would you try to send him if you had your picks of who to send him to?
Anywhere that's going to give me good compensation.
You think the Raiders would take him instead as a bridge guy to build the team first? Then, because a lot of hype, and because he developed himself well, a lot of the planning is the bell of the ball next year is going to be Arch Manning. Would you
No,
take
because they're you know how the Raiders are going to do, man. You know who the Raiders are. They're going to throw Mendoza right out in the fire.
right?
They're going to get Mendoza and they're going to want to see him. So that'd be a waste of money for them. I could see like a
But if you could convince him, like, hey, this could be your bridge guy to next year, because like I said, the bell, like, sure, where everybody likes Mendoza, he's got the build, the framing, the look of being a guy. But if you like what Arch Manning is becoming, wouldn't you be willing to wait 1 year?
and not get Mendoza.
If I like Arch better, would you take
No,
Arch?
I'm taking Mendoza right now.
Take a fully developed Arch, or would you take a Mendoza as he is currently?
Mendoza, and just because you can't say fully developed, we don't know what Arch looks
Arch,
like. He's going to get there.
Arch
He looked
developed pretty well, and
he
another
looked
year
awesome.
under
But right now, Mendoza looks like the best thing that you're going to get out of college football. And none of that's a home run, but he looked.
but he's the
He's
best.
got.
He's the best thing out of two guys at quarterback. It's two
He's
guys.
better. He's better than any guy that came out last year.
Who came out last year? Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. You like Mendoza over Nix and Daniels?
Both.
Wow.
That dude's got the eye test, man.
Wow. Hey, boom. We're gonna have to test that high level eye, bro. I don't know. We're gonna have to test that high level eye. What about you're gonna move Penix Or you're gonna move Kirk Cousins, but what about the young Michael Penix Jr.? What do you do about him? Keep him or move him?
Man, I don't. There's something about Penix too, man, that I don't know, and it's hard because Atlanta's not good, so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of hard, man. But you would that offense has got pieces on it, man, and I thought at times that Penix just wasn't that good. He seems to miss easy throws too, man. Like he misses the hard ones and the easy ones. So there's things about Penix that I don't like, man. I would depend on who I could get though, right? What are they picking?
They are
What
in the middle of the draft in the teens right now.
So I'd keep Penix, man, and maybe they should be looking to Arch.
It's gonna be tough, bro. Because if you're not gonna get a high enough pick if you win that division, bro. They think about it. It was a 3-way tie in that division.
That division's so bad.
You make the playoffs, you're gonna be picking in the 20s. Arch is going number 1 or 2 next year.
He is, but you don't know. I don't know if Atlanta's going to be very good next year, depending on what they do.
I mean, let's say
They're
they
going to
go.
have it because they're going to have a new coach.
But that's what I'm saying. If all he needs is development, and you've got a decent enough team around him that showed promise, because they still got Bijan, they still got a decent enough defense. They got good enough receivers around them. If you get development or keep Kirk Cousins, just give him his chance with somebody that can coach him through the game. Like let's hypothetically say they bring in a Brian Daboll, they bring in a Mike McCarthy or a Harbaugh for that matter. You don't think they can get the most out of whatever quarterbacks there currently?
That's a big key of it, though, right? Who are they going to hire?
Yeah.
If they hire a Harbaugh, absolutely, they're probably going to get everything they want out of him. But that's just future talk. We don't know. It really depends on because if they hire somebody not nearly as good, then who knows?
I mean, absolutely, bro.
They
Absolutely.
still have not recovered from the Super Bowl, so I don't know what they're going to do.
They're looking better. They've got more promise than they've
Well,
ever
Matt
had.
Ryan now the president of them, man. So we'll see what he
Yeah,
might have to say
that's
so on that.
that's funny, ain't it? Because he was supposed to be the one looking for the person to be in that role, and he was like, you know what, fucking me, I'll do it. I'll be the president of operations.
Exactly. And he might, he's a quarterback, man. So he might see something in one of those guys that he likes, or he might say, no, both of these guys aren't good enough.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows, bro? Who knows? I mean, and then there was obviously the last two. I don't think you would move. Well, three. I don't think you would move off of Lamar Jackson. I don't think. Would you really keep him or move him? Lamar Jackson opening at
I'm,
the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm keeping him. Who are you going to get? Until he just absolutely shows that he's out of it, you got to keep that guy.
And
I
then
think I think his injuries were a little more than what we thought they were. You can't move that guy. No way, no how.
And then obviously, I don't think the Jets doesn't seem like they're gonna keep Justin Fields, and it doesn't seem like any other backup they have is gonna stay in that job. And the Jets are historically bad at picking, but actually, you know what? There is one. Let me see how you feel, because a couple of weeks, maybe a month ago, you floated this idea out. The opening at the New York Football Giants, Jackson Dart. Are you keeping him or are you moving him?
Well, because you don't know how to lose correctly, you're keeping him now because you're not getting Mendoza.
I
Mendoza's
mean,
the only one that would have been worth even thinking about it, and that was only thinking about it. That was just an idea. I wouldn't say I would do it because Jackson Dart seems like he's going to be pretty good.
right.
So, and if you're New York, man, you could think about taking because you already have a good defense. Do you get a Caleb Downs or a Reuben Bain to put on that defense? Do you get a receiver or something like that to help neighbors out, or do you trade that pick and get more capital to build, maybe a better O line?
Right. I mean, like, look at the New York, like I said, to me, it's
They're in a really good spot, actually.
they are, but it's like I said, I don't trust that general manager or owner. They're not the best decision makers in the league when they've had opportunities like this.
I'm in the Jared talking to them, man, and getting that pick for me.
Man, I don't think they're gonna give that up either, bro.
I don't know, man. They might. They don't need a quarterback. They
You
don't
got.
need.
I mean, but you got other problems with Jerry to worry about, bro. I mean, look at who he's floating out there for your defensive coordinator job. Like, do you really want him to pick that high? What's he gonna pick? You think he's gonna pick the right guy? You already seen
Well,
that.
my, My problem is I don't think Ruben Bain or Caleb Downs is going to be available by number 12.
No,
And
no.
you need one of those guys. I really prefer that they would go get a Caleb Downs.
Now, would you take my idea, send one of those, call up Pittsburgh, maybe send the 12. Hey, would you take this for TJ? Let me just get TJ off your hands.
I think I'd rather have Max, to be honest.
Max Crosby over TJ Watt.
Perhaps. I just don't think Pittsburgh's going to do it. Now, if Pittsburgh would do it, absolutely, I would give them the 12.
Anything's possible, bro. Nobody thought Michael Parsons was gonna get moved, and he got moved.
I mean, hey, look, man, look, me and your brother talked about this yesterday. You know, Max, say you give the 12 to either Raiders or Pittsburgh for Max. Okay. You get him in there at the 12, and then you use your number 20 pick that you now have, try to trade up with maybe the Giants and get a Caleb Downs. Well, boom. That's two big problems solved, man, right there. You add TJ Watt and Caleb Downs to that defense, man. You're looking pretty good.
See, but I think the problem is you're expecting the Giants to let you have that pick.
There's a report coming out that when they pulled the starters in the first half, that they were up there talking business, man.
I don't know, bro. I don't
It's
know.
a rumor going around that the Giants and the Cowboys are thinking about trading.
And if it is, that's malpractice, and it needs to be investigated, and then take both of your picks away. The Giants and the Cowboys. Malpractice.
Listen, bro. Sorsby was here at an Airbnb before the portal opened, bro. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, buddy. If you ain't rubbing, it's racing.
And Derrick Henry bought a fucking house there and still plays for the Ravens. Ain't that crazy?
You know, it's crazy. We couldn't afford him, bro. Dude, people don't realize that. It's not that we didn't want to. We didn't have the money to pay him.
He was gonna take low money.
They didn't have no money. That's a big. People don't understand. That was a big.
Somebody.
That was a big part of the reason why Micah was let go.
As much as you want to say Dak is going to give you some money so you can pay George Pickens. Hey, Dak, let me get some of this money so we can get a running back. Run the foot so we can get a running back that we can spam 30 times and he's going to run for 200 yards.
I'm perfectly fine with the running back that I have.
Not Derrick Henry.
Man, he's not, but he's pretty fucking good.
Would you rather have Williams or Derrick Henry?
You know what I'm paying.
I mean,
who's not taking Derrick Henry?
Sounds like you're not.
But at that moment in time, we did not have money for Derrick Henry.
You can make money. Money can
now we unloaded Trayvon. We unloaded Micah.
The cap can be manipulated. Everybody knows that. Even if he was just a 1-year rental, the money could be found somewhere. Dig through that big couch Jerry has. It could be found.
Boy, you could have had Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders this year. It wouldn't have mattered with that defense.
Hey, man. Emmitt Smith played for the Cardinals, bro. Still had a great year under his belt. Just saying. But that's neither here nor there, bro. We will look at the draft in the future, and we still have a great slate of games starting on Saturday, national championship on Monday. Talking about all these things. That was a lot of good quarterback moves, bro. You seemed like you were ready to no matter who the job was, you seemed ready to move on. Except for the guys that have multiple quarterbacks, you were more than willing to keep one. You were willing to keep. I'm quite surprised you were willing to keep Penix over Kirk Cousins.
Well, Kirk Cousins I think he's run his course a little bit, man. And he's, if you watch some of his on-field interviews, man, where he's like mic'd up, there's things there. He's in his own head. He talks about like his turnovers coming in bunches and not able to figure it out and stuff like that. He's getting older. What is he now? 37, something like that, man. And I think if there's one thing we're seeing in the league, bro, it's the younger coaches, the younger guys. The league has changed, man. It's adapting. And you have to get younger and adapt to it. And look at the Steelers and the Ravens, man. Both of those coaches are great. We know they're all-time great coaches. But they got stale. They got old. They're not keeping up with what's going on.
Yeah, I completely get it. But for me personally, I still think Kirk Cousins is a very serviceable guy. And then with the whole, I think one of the worst situations out there is the Cleveland Browns situation because, bro, you got a guy that's paid, a couple of guys unproven, and just one guy that brings so much into him that they're going to throw every scenario at which way, whether he wins or loses. So,
it's the Browns, bro. Browns, bad situation. That's the story of their life, man.
Hey, but at this point, I'd rather beat the Browns than the Jets. At this point, bro. At this point. and that's
I
not
started
really
feeling
fair.
bad for myself. I was thinking about those teams, man.
Yep. And then obviously, like I said, plenty coming up in the future here. We are planning to be live for fourth quarter reactions to the divisional round. Hoping and praying don't hold us to it. Another great show here today. I think I had one more thing, maybe if I
Pretty
can find.
excited to do those live reactions. I think it's gonna be pretty good.
There we go. Justin, I gotta ask you about this fight. You know, as casual of a boxing fan as you are, you have seen both of these guys take on in action. Mario Barrios, a man who you saw take on Gervonta Tank Davis, and also Ryan Garcia. I'm pretty sure you know who he is, but you've seen him take on a Devin Haney, a Gervonta Tank Davis, be under the limelight of a Canelo Alvarez. They have been announced to fight February 21st. Another fight we will be live for on top of the premiere of the UFC next Saturday on Paramount Plus. I al-
Woo!
I also plan to be live for Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson at the end of this month, and maybe the Royal Rumble. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Don't hold me to anything. But we're gonna be live. Justin, as a casual fan, do these two names draw enough interest to you to get it tuned into this fight?
Absolutely, just because I know who they are, but I don't know enough about it to pretend to sit here and pretend to our audience and lie to them and know that I know what's going to happen. But I do know who both of those are. I am intrigued to watch. I am going to watch. So I'm just going to enjoy that one. Any takes on it, I'm going to let you have because I don't want to pretend to know something,
Oh yeah, don't worry
that
about.
I don't.
I just wanted to gauge a casual interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just 'cause these are some
very interested. Very interested, though.
names and faces you've seen in there with a eye against one of the best fighters of this time. I mean, to give a quick take, it's a super interesting matchup. As much as people say, I'm one of those people who don't think Ryan Garcia deserves a title shot coming off of a loss and a PED scandal. Mario Barrios coming off two draws. You know, the draw here recently against Manny Pacquiao, where to me he was just super starstruck, and to the point where if your corner is telling you to stop taking it easy on somebody, he's trying to beat you too. It's super crazy to say because, like, bro, like I understand, like that's a legend, somebody you might have looked up to, but bro, you need to go in there and whoop his ass because he's trying to whoop your ass. But it's gonna be a super interesting matchup, bro. We'll get you some more information. I'm gonna get some co-hosts on here to help. We're gonna break down more of the fight game. Like I said, next Saturday we will be live. We're gonna react to the co-main event and the main event. Kayla Harrison takes on Amanda Nunez, and Patty the Bag
Bang.
on Justin Gaethje in the main event of the first Paramount Plus card for the UFC.
That
We will.
co-main is going to be a banger.
I think so too, bro. I want to see how Amanda comes off of what it's been maybe a year or two since she's fought. She took that time off, maybe to just rest and rebuild. And Kayla Harrison, bro, she's massive. The
Yeah,
fact,
but now you find someone who's going to be Amanda Nunez is going to walk into that fight just as big.
bro, but that girl, but she's so much. Bro, she was fighting at like 155, and the fact that she can make 135 is
What
insane.
are they fighting at?
35. She's the champion at 35.
Yeah, she's going to. I think she loses more power at 35 than what Nunez is going to lose.
Bro,
And
absolutely.
Nunez in that fight, but that fight
That's
is going
more,
to be a banger.
that's more Nunez's natural weight. Like I
Exactly.
said, cutting that 20 pounds looks rough for Kayla because, like, man, like where does it even go? Where do you pull weight from? And then
Well, now
also,
she's for the first time to me, she's fighting somebody who's like who can
who,
crack just as
who can
hard
stand
as
up
you.
with her? Yeah, who can stand up with
Yeah,
her? And
yeah.
and obviously Amanda's got a lot more tools in the bag. She hasn't really tried to pull them out because she's only had one really slip up here in the past last tool end of her career. Should be another banger, and then like we said, the main event should just be a nice little slugfest like we've seen before. Patty Pimblett, Justin Gaethje. I expect just an absolute brawl of a war unless
Yeah.
Patty decides to be a wrestler. But we shall see. As I said before, we will cover all these things. We're going to be live for the fourth quarters of the divisional round starting on Saturday. We will review the national championship because we're not going to go live in case somebody just gets the doors blown off of them. I mean, what's the point? We'll come back and talk to you. We'll see if any head coaches find new homes. As we said at the beginning of the program, the Houston Texans beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, which resulted in Mike Tomlin leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another shocking thing. But other than that, man, we will see what comes in the future. Justin, I appreciate you joining me as always here on the program. I am Matt Garces. That is Justin. This has been Talking About with Matt Garces. We will tune in more for that, but we're looking for this. Talking About with Matt Garces here. Talking About Radio. YouTube.com/, Talking About Radio. Twitch.com, Twitch.tv actually, Matt_4. We will also, Justin, I'm going to reveal this to you now because I will be home. We're gonna cram in a bunch of shows. Let me talk to you one on one real quick. We're gonna cram in a bunch of shows because I will be in the hospital for a couple days getting fixed. Not like a dog, but fixing my health issues. And we will now occasionally be back on Twitch live streaming some Warzone, which I'm pretty sure really just not just gets you going.
You know it.
We will be
You
back.
know it.
We will be back on the Warzone streams, Twitch exclusive. So follow us there on Twitch. We will be live. I will also be debuting another segment. Simply just talking about life, bro. Where we'll be on here casually talking, shooting the shit. I'll have you. I'll have a couple other friends join me when we're ready to just talk, tell stories, review things in our own lives, man. But
And I think what we could do with the Warzone streams is that if you go live on Twitch, I go live now on YouTube,
yep,
so they can catch both of us. One's on YouTube, one on Twitch. Because some people
absolutely.
don't like Twitch because of the ads and the stuff like that.
Well, pay for premium, bro. Just like YouTube, you're gonna get an ad, bro. Well, this is the streaming era. You're gonna get an ad. If you don't like it, pay for it. But in the meantime, in between time, I have been Matt Garces. This is my boy Justin Matt Garces on Talking About with Matt Garces, sports and wrestling talk. I will also be live, one last shameless plug, with our friends over at Infighting FX Thursday for the TV return of TNA Wrestling. But until then, see you guys later. Have a nice life.